So we're going to be talking about the different technology offerings and propositions available to facilitate communication and collaboration in this world of accelerating change. And to join me for this virtual unboxing is Director of Propositions for BT, Snehal Bhudia. Snehal, thank you very much for joining us. Whereabouts are you today?
Hey, David. I'm in the northwest of London.
Northwest
in my
London,
kitchen.
terrific. In your kitchen, lovely. It looks very bright and sunny in northwest London right now. Right, so propositions, Director of Propositions for BT. Tell me a bit more about what do you do?
Yeah, so it's my job to, I guess, continue to understand what's happening in the market, what are the trends, what do our customers need, where are the opportunities, where are the gaps that we need to exploit, and then be able to, I guess, create a really strong customer value proposition on the back of that, and then use all the resources across our organization to deliver that to our customers.
So very much to have your finger on the pulse of what your customers are experiencing, what their wants and needs are, and the gaps maybe in your portfolio in order to try and address those.
Absolutely. And we do this across the full breadth of our enterprise business. So that includes customers who are one-man bands, to corporate organizations, to public sector, to even resellers as part of our wholesale part of our business. So yes, it's quite an array of customers that we support.
Sure. Before we come on to the observations that you've been making and measures you've been putting in place, how have things been for you with you being able to fulfill your role?
I'll be honest, and I'll give you a view of what's happened in my, I guess, the more personal side of my life as well. The first week of lockdown felt like a bit of a mini meltdown for me, just being completely frank. All of a sudden going from being in the office in central London every day to being in my makeshift office with my laptop propped up on a box in my makeshift office with my children at home and my husband still working. It was a real shock to the system. So that first week I personally found quite hard, and work was busier than ever. But since then everything's kind of calmed down a little bit. Everybody's got used to the new norm. So yeah, we're still finding our feet a little bit, but hey, we're getting there. From a work perspective, actually we've been
Sorry, no,
you go ahead.
Can I carry on? Okay, well, what I was going to say from this is something else that's part of this new normal that we're learning, isn't it? So I'm just going to plow on and ask my question. But the point you make, I think, is really important about how work has changed. We've still got the things that we need to do. We've still got the products or the services or whatever it is that we work on. There's just a different environment in which we're doing that. I feel as though, despite the fact that we don't have the personal contact that we might have had within the proximity of an office anymore, I've got to know my work colleagues so much better over the last few weeks because I've met their families, I've met their kids. I know when the Amazon delivery guy is coming around to deliver some goods, and I've seen their kitchens and their bookcases a lot more. It's a real paradox about being further apart, yet much closer together.
Absolutely. And I'm definitely feeling less intellectual because I do not have any bookcases in my house anywhere. But I regularly spot that everybody else does. But yeah, absolutely right. My kids are in all my videos and probably right on cue. They're going to run straight past me when I've told them just to give me 10 minutes apiece. So this is life as it is right now. This is both work and personal, mixed and blurred all over the place. But hey, everyone's dealing with it as best they can.
So just coming back then to your role and how you are helping customers. So what are the products and services that you've seen people really interested in over the last few weeks and have come to rely on? Where's the demand and kind of what's next based on what you've seen?
So we've been, I have to say, we've been busier than ever. It has been pretty crazy over the last few weeks, and we've seen demand across a wide range of areas. So firstly, I think Fotis mentioned this at the outset, in terms of the demand on our network, usually we're used to peak time traffic in the evening, and it's still pretty much in the evening, but during the day you've mainly got businesses who are online trying to get stuff done. But at the moment, you've got businesses who are doing a lot more online, as well as children trying to do their schoolwork or blasting Netflix or whatever else. And then you've got, some unfortunate people who are not going to work right now and are streaming online or, doing whatever they would do. And so there is a lot more demand on the network during the day, like considerably more. And we saw that increase very, very quickly as soon as lockdown happened. In fact, actually, just before that, we started to notice it. And I guess we've been really fortunate that the way that we manage our network means that we have way more than enough capacity needed, and there's a hell of a lot of headroom. So it hasn't impacted people's service, and the network that has now proven to be so crucial in helping people connect with other people, to help them carry on doing their work and run their businesses, has been really, really important. I guess the flip side of that is where we've seen less demand on some of our network is roaming, as you can imagine. As an example, much less need for roaming services at the moment. But we've also seen a lot more demand for things like additional services. So I think somebody else made the point earlier. Some people just don't have the devices they need, and that's both from a private perspective as well as public sector. Certainly from a public sector, we've seen demand for providing ruggedized devices into ICUs, because people can't keep in contact with their family and loved ones, if they're in hospital, really horrible things like that, as well as children now trying to be schooled from home, but don't have access to a laptop or an iPad, and therefore they're struggling to do the online learning that's being given out. So we've had quite a few things come up like that. And then collaboration tools, Nicola talked a lot about that. There's definitely been an uptick in the use of collaboration tools. We've seen it both within our organization and with our teams, as well as our customers as well. People downloading the mobile apps for the collaboration tools a lot more. So usually they would have maybe used the desktop version or the fixed phone in the office. But now a lot more people we've seen download the mobile apps and kind of use that. And increasingly, we're seeing a few more questions around how do I keep my business secure? So all these things that we're now doing, all these tools we're now using, and the workforce is now largely working from home. How can we make sure that actually we're still as secure as we were before? And if anything, there might be more security breaches coming up at the moment, as we know, and a lot of them kind of originate in the devices that people use, the end user devices. So we're starting to increasingly get more questions around how do I collaborate better? How do I make sure that I stay secure? And what expertise can you help us with? Because for a lot of customers, this is still a bit of a new journey, right? People are at different stages of the journey on digital transformation. Some people are much further ahead and therefore have that confidence, they have that knowledge. But a lot of our customers at the moment might be at the beginning of that journey, or just starting to think about what do they need and what do they need to do. And it's it's a bit of a scary world, and therefore we are seeing those kind of questions coming around. Right, can you help me with what I need to do? So use of our professional services and managed services. So yeah, those are the kind of things that we've seen, the questions coming in, but also the demand as well.
Okay, so right on cue, you were talking about tools for collaboration in there, and people downloading mobile versions of apps, perhaps. So we've been asking our viewers today to contribute to various polls, and the results are in on my screen over here. We've been asking people whether they have the tools and support to enable true collaboration within their organizations. Now, whereas our first two polls have been pretty unanimous in terms of, yes, remote working is going to be much more of a thing and so on. This one's a little bit more in the balance, which I think is quite interesting. So a grand total of 52% people think they have the tools and support to enable true collaboration within their organization. 52%, half and half, basically, of people think that the collaboration tools are there and the support for them, and they aren't. So clearly there's a bit of a gap. There's still some way to go, either in terms of expectation or in terms of actual collaboration tools on the ground. And in terms of collaboration, that's been a theme throughout today's event. What have you noticed that, if anything, that people have either been enjoying in particular or not been able to get yet from their collaboration tools and their collaboration platforms that, I guess, as a proposition manager should certainly form part of your future thinking for your portfolio?
I think it's the point that Nicola was making before, that actually there are so many collaboration tools, but getting them to work in the way that you want them to work together. Because sometimes people have one collaboration tool for, instant messenger, they've got another one for video conferencing, they've got another one for document sharing, and actually that's really hard. And trying to flip between them, my personal example, I've got people sending me emails and WhatsApp messages, and we've got workplace messages and all kinds of messages all over the place, and it's a bit like, God, I don't know how to keep on top of all of this stuff. So I guess consolidating that, or thinking through this, your own strategy of what are going to be your key collaboration tools that cover the vast majority of your needs and how they work together, I think is something that people are still quite challenged with. And there's a bit of an incremental approach to, this has come out, or let's use this for this, and now let's do this. So I think that probably needs a little bit, needs to be thought out a little bit better.
Yes, everyone is searching for the next big thing, and yeah, you're right. With so many collaboration tools out there, some perceived as being a bit more trendy than the other ones, a bit more fashionable than the other ones. I guess we're in that experimentation phase, and as often happens with technology, eventually there will be some collapsing and some consolidation and some acquisitions, and eventually we will kind of land on some fewer platforms, perhaps. Snehal, before we go for now, but we'll welcome you back to the Q&A in just a moment afterwards. But before we go for this section, in terms of customers assessing what their tools need to be in terms of their mobile, or in terms of their collaboration, or in terms of other technology, hardware, and so on, how should they approach trying to make those assessments, and I guess communicating it to partners such as you?
So I think the first thing I would recommend, and maybe it plays to the poll that we've just done, if 52% think that they have the right collaboration tools already, is to really exploit what they have today. And we find that certainly when we look at, how some of the tools that we provide are being used, they're probably not being used to their full potential. And so I think understanding what you have today, making sure that people are trained to use it in the most effective manner that's going to help them be really productive is a key one. Then I would say anything that is being adopted in terms of your future cloud strategy or your future collaboration strategy, we need to make sure that the underlying infrastructure that you need to be able to run those things effectively are in place. Because you can be using the world's best apps, but actually if your underlying network and connectivity isn't fit for purpose, then it's really not going to achieve what you need. So making sure you have the amount of bandwidth that you need, that you can scale that up and down as you need, that you have the visibility and control of the network is massively important. So people should think of that in the round. And then the last thing I would say is just seek help. Where you need it, seek help. I mean, there's so much online information available. There's so many people who are, it's kind of leveled the playing field, because everybody is trying to understand this at the same time. And you can't be expected to know everything, and it is quite confusing out there. There's so many different products that can be adopted and so many different ways of doing it. So I think going to the experts, be that us or be that your local IT shop or whoever it is you use, there is a lot of information and support available out there. So do reach out, do speak to the experts who can tell you who can really help understand what your business, what you're trying to do in your business, and then help devise a plan for adoption based on that.
Terrific stuff. Snehal, I'm sorry we've got to leave it there, but don't go anywhere, because I'd like you to rejoin us in just a moment for our big Q&A. But for now, thank you very much indeed.